Uh-oh. Tonight, Ilhan Omar's entire plan collapses in real time. Yep, Somali's protest turned hostile. ICE gets swarmed. Activists declare Minnesota their homeland. A black Muslim woman drives across the country to push back. And Tim Walz? Oh, yeah, my boy, he completely loses it on camera after he got called out, y'all. Let's roll it.
As much as Trump and his cronies want to act like we have no power to respond, the truth is we are more powerful than we think we are. And I want to underscore the importance of using every single leverage that we have at our arsenal, because we do have a lot of leverage. We need to make sure that those who are collaborating with the authoritarian regime pay a costly price. As much as Trump and his...
What? I mean, there it is. Ilhan Omar threatens an entire administration, promising a costly price for any corporation or agency that dares work with Donald Trump. Every time she does this, the same thing continues to happen. People take her literally and things spin out of control. Because I want you to watch how fast this plan, right, of hers collapses when the streets decide they've got marching orders.
They've been knocking at my cousin's door. Yeah. He doesn't have a warrant. So they're actually trespassing right now, right? Because I call the cops. They can't do that.
They're getting ready.
You're actually trespassing.
I'm not trespassing.
Yes, you are, because you're not here. You're not for what? Who gave you the permission to come here and knock at his door?
I can come in and knock at his door.
For why? That's harassing. You're an unwanted guest, so you're basically trespassing.
Well, I think you're wrong.
No, I'm not wrong. I'm actually right. I'm recording this. I did call the police, and they're on their way.
Wait. I don't usually pause in videos, but I just have to note. So she's not wrong because she's recording this. Okay. I won't do that again.
Recording this. I did call the police, and they're on their way.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, wait. You can't just be just.
سيف باطورة ميل في عم بجوتورة.
يلا يبدبادي. معلم محمد يبدبادي.
ورامس أنا ورامس سوريا سك.
كوادي.
وعرن.
كوادي.
مخواسة. هلا ما والله ما يكذب.
ثقفت.
ما كنا
This is on its way. Yeah.
But go away motherfucker.
Go away.
Motherfucker انتم. لا شغال والدتي.
Hit the road, Jack. And don't
What
you
the
come
fuck?
back.
Go.
What do you want, Jogan?
أبي هورا. دوبا
دوبا.
guriga raba inay galaan waa kaasa
nacala waalidkiinku yari dhaladeen yaa gurigan u baneeyay inay aadaan
they have different states plates they wataan maarta wow
waa run taarga kale wataan
wallahi plates kale wataan
wallahi meelo kale ka imaadeen wala kale
there's also another one missing I don't know where the other one ma bixiya kan gaarigaas ku kala mid kala hare kii oo jaakada ya
muusiga qabta
gaari caadi wataan police kala hadlaynayo soo
la hadal ka daba gal.
Oh, I think I was dancing at the wrong side playing the music. Because I was, dancing for hitting the road jack for, illegals to hit the road. But it's the people supporting the illegals that was playing the soundtrack. Man, y'all can't deny the leftists be having them bops. I'm just saying. We may not agree with the ideology, but we agree with the baseline sometimes. Now, this is what Ilhan Omar helped create. A protest that instantly turns hostile. People screaming at federal agents, obviously taunting ICE. You got the guy over there saying, "Mother sucker." He sounds like Michael Blackston off of Friday After Next, calling on Ilhan and Mayor Frey like their backup. This isn't community protection at all. This definitely exuded mob energy fueled by political leaders who told them there would be a price rather, for enforcing immigration law. And it gets worse. It does. Because meanwhile, they're not, just claiming the streets, man. They're now trying to claim the entire state.
A lot of white nationalists are really upset about Somali immigration to Minnesota for some reason. But the thing is, Minnesota is the homeland of the Somali people, and it was promised to us 3,000 years ago. In fact, one of the founding documents of the state of Minnesota is literally codifying into law that Somali people have self-determination on that land. As it states very plainly in the basic law in Minnesota, the land of Minnesota is the historical homeland of the Somali people, in which the state of Minnesota was established. The state of Minnesota is the home of the Somali people, in which it fulfills its natural, cultural, religious, and historical right to self-determination. The right to exercise self-determination in the state of Minnesota is unique to the Somali people. The state views the development of Somali settlement as a national value and will act to encourage and promote its establishment and consolidation. So that's the end of the debate. The only people who have the right to self-determination in Minnesota are Somalis. Somalis have a cultural tie to the land. It was promised to us 3,000 years ago, and we have the right to go back to our homeland. If anybody wants to help me pay for Aliyah to my homeland, please help me out.
Hold up, I gotta go ask Alexa. We call her Ziggy here, though. Ziggy, is Minnesota the homeland of Somalians? Let's see what he say. Hold on.
Minnesota is not the historical homeland of Somali people.
Ziggy, stop. Now, we don't always agree, Ziggy, but I'll take your word right now. When satire starts sounding a little too close to reality, the narrative is falling apart. This is how emboldened the movement has become. We've gone from defend our community to Minnesota is our ancestral homeland. Ilhan Omar's influence hasn't created unity, it's created entitlement, grievance and open mockery of the country that took them in. But not every Muslim is buying into it. No. In fact, some are done with it.
I'm on my way, y'all. They've been threatening to take my life if I come to Minnesota, so I'm on my way. I'm about to put together some sweatshirts, some t-shirts, so that you can fight, so that you can support the cause, because I'm about to travel the United States of America and figure out what's going on with Americans. I don't care nothing else about nobody who's not an American. Now, I don't put no black in front of it, don't put no white in front of it. I'm not fighting for no racial causes. I'm fighting for America. We will not be the UK. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Jihad my motherfucking ass. It won't happen here, not on my watch. But they said they're gonna take me up out of here if I come to Minnesota, so I'm on my way. We're gonna start some fundraising. We're gonna somebody start me a motherfucking GoFundMe. I am on my way. I don't think I'll come back home for another year from now. I think I'll just be traveling around causing motherfucking hell for everybody who ain't American. That's what I think I'll be doing. Here I come.
See, my intrusive thoughts will win, and I'll be in the comment section like, we ride at dawn. But no, I'm not advising nobody put their life at risk at all. But this right here is the collapse. You got a black Muslim woman from Dearborn, not MAGA country. She ain't claiming it or nothing like that, right? But she's fed up with the anti-American rhetoric, right? The separatism, the jihad language, the victimhood culture, if you will, right? When even Muslims are saying, no, you integrate or you leave. That's when the political machine, starts to crumble and break a bit. That's how that works. But while that truth is being spoken, America is also waking up to something else. Get the credit.
Come see Columbus, Ohio, fraud investigators. If you go to the government-assisted housing areas, you will find that most of the housing is Somalians. I would say about 80% of the government-assisted housing in Columbus is occupied by Somalians. And the parking lot is occupied with a whole bunch of brand new cars. And the women walking around have designer purses with EBT cards, and they have Apple iPhones stuck up in their hijabs. Yeah. And then go to the businesses that are owned by the men. Because see, what happens is when you have a restaurant or when you have a little corner store and you have a couple of wives and you only have to claim one, then that means the other wives get EBT cards, and you can use those EBT cards to buy food for your store or your restaurant. Yeah. Or what you can do is you can get a home health aid company, and then you only hire Somalians to work the home health aid. And what you do is you just make sure their paperwork looks right. It don't have to be right, but you just make sure it looks right. And then you send them off for those home health aid jobs. Y'all don't want to talk about fraud.
They don't. This is why ICE is out in Minneapolis. This is why Trump said enough is enough. It's not, it wasn't random, right? It wasn't about racism, right? You know, it's because Americans are tired of waking up to watching welfare programs they pay for milk them dry. I'm tired too. Ilhan Omar wanted to punish Trump supporters. You know, instead, her own narrative is unraveling, and she seems to be getting punished. And the people she protects are the ones exposing it. Believe it or not, yeah. But nothing captures the collapse like this next moment.
True. This creates danger. And I'll tell you what, in my time on this, I'd never seen this before. People driving by my house and using the R word in front of people. This is shameful. And I have yet to see an elected official, a Republican elected official, say, you're right, that's shameful. He should not say it. So look, I'm worried. We know how these things go. They start with taunts, they turn to violence. So deeply concerned. True. This creates
the same man who said we gonna wake up to some news, and you know what he was referring to. If you know, you know. Right? You know, if you know in the comments, abbreviated. Yeah, I don't feel like going through it. But Tim Walz, the same governor who looked the other way on fraud, downplayed corruption, and shielded sanctuary policies, is now on TV crying because people are yelling a slur out their window. Sir, good sir, your entire state is in chaos. You're worried about heckling? If this is leadership, no wonder everything is collapsing. But even the media can't even control the narrative anymore, y'all. I want you to watch what happens when this topic hits The View.
Trump is claiming that he aced the cognitive test, even though he's going on late night Truth Social tirades. In the middle of the night, he's texting and calling Governor Walz a name that we don't use anymore to disability. He's attacking female reporters as piggy and ugly. He's falling asleep in the middle of a meeting. I mean, I said yesterday that Marco Rubio is boring, but not that boring that he would fall asleep. So what do you think's going on with him?
Trump is being Trump.
Really? There's nothing cognitively wrong there?
Well, I'm not saying whether there is or isn't. What I'm saying is 77 million people don't care. They voted for him. And those same 77 million people
will do it again. Is it still that number?
They would do it. Well, you could say that it is or isn't, but the point is he's the president of the United States. Despite the onslaught of stuff that was coming his way, he knocked off folks, and the Democrats let him because they weren't on their game. Now you have to look at, because obviously he's not going to circumvent the 22nd Amendment, which will enable him to run for a third term. So now you're talking about J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio is considered the adult in the room, the Secretary of State, National Defense, the National Security Advisor. You got J.D. Vance, he's the vice president, but he seems more Trump-ish in terms of how he conducts himself and how he's willing to go after people. So who is Trump going to support? One of the things that I talked about on my show was that I said, don't fall for it. Look at what Trump is doing. Trump is positioning himself to remain in power even if he isn't the president. Yeah. He wants to make sure he maintains that level of influence. And so because of when you see what he's done with the Honduras president, letting him out, pardoning him, even though the man is alleged to assist in funneling 400 tons of cocaine into the United States.
He was serving 45 years.
He was serving 45 years, absolutely. And you let him out in the same breath. You're bombing people in the Caribbean for the very thing that you said was a problem.
Well, let's talk about the bombing.
Stuff, he's doing what he's doing, but in the end, what it comes down to is that you're going to have to beat him because he is going to make sure he dictates
he
who his
stays
successor
awake.
is going to be.
If he stays awake.
Anticipate he's going to be awake.
My friend, I want.
Joy Behar melts down. Whoopee melts down. And then Stephen A., walks in and drops a nuke. 77 million people don't care. Y'all, I wish y'all can see the Sonny Hostin meltdown too. I didn't have time. Well, I couldn't figure out a way to. It was talking about Mike Kelly, and I couldn't figure out a way to segue it into this. But I'll figure out in the next video, hopefully. But yeah, he dropped that nuke when he said 77 million people don't care. That's the end of the media strategy right there. If even Stephen A. understands that Trump's base, that we immune to the outrage, Omar and Walz don't stand a chance selling this narrative. Not at all. Not at all. They're going to get some coupon, but that thing on coupon, And now they're falling into what we like to call here in our world, panic mode.
Growth in this state, they have contributed a lot to the state of Minnesota and the city of Minneapolis. And yes, folks have done, horrible things, and people have committed crimes, but we should not be pointing the entire community in one brush and being singled out as fellow Americans. There's a justice, there's a process of due process, and I believe those folks have been dealt with by the state leaders. And but now President Donald Trump singling out and attacking one group of people, and ICE being on our streets and asking people documentation. It feels like we are in 1930s, 1940s in Germany. I never thought there would be a time where I will tell my community to carry their passport around because you look like Somali. You might be stopped by ICE.
When a city council member is comparing ICE to Nazi Germany, you're not dealing with logic anymore. You're dealing with what I call desperation. Ilhan Omar's threat backfired. Okay? I mean, backfired hard. The protests, it turned hostile. Walz, he collapsed under pressure. And the entire political class is scrambling to explain a crisis they created. Because once the truth hits the streets, the narrative can't save you. Which is why if you made it to the end of this video, I want you to write that. Right? Can't save you. If you made it to the end of the video that way, I know. Because right now, man, everybody is in panic mode. And right now, I'm about to do a very generic promo. But speaking of panic mode, okay, no, that's accountable. Speaking of panic mode, I actually got this shirt design. Yeah. Y'all check below this video. I'm working on stuff. All right. I'm trying to get y'all some merch and all this other. Y'all been in comments like, yo, what you getting this hat from me? My do-rag and all this other. I know. I just ordered mine. I'm waiting on mine to come so I can at least represent it. I ain't Officer Tatum yet. I ain't got no factory, but y'all got some knowledge on how to start that, I will, gladly accept that, because I'm all about accountability. You see what I did there? I can't even show the whole picture, man. Come on, dog. How am I doing a promo showing half of the photo? You know what? Forget this. Hold on. Boom. Let me come over in the screen. Yeah. Accountability. Holding people responsible for their actions. Racism. Not the same thing. Y'all be safe. Go check on a friend today. You can quite literally be saving their life. And let me go work on some promos, okay? Peace.